call the board meeting to order, and we'll have a flag pledge led by Commissioner Lipke today.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, all. Welcome to our August 27th meeting. And you have before you, Commissioners, your agenda. I entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
We have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. I don't believe we have any introductions of new employees. I'm looking at our HR coordinator and I see the head bob. No, okay, well, then we're on to the next item. We've reached our consent agenda. And if there are no questions, I'd entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda. We have a motion by Kolars.
Second.
Second by Morrow. Any discussion? None. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Public appearances. This is the opportunity for members to address the commission. Please come forward and state your name and your address. I see no one thrusting themselves forward to make that commentary. We will move on then. Health and Human Services. Good morning, Cassie.
Good morning.
How are you this morning?
I'm well. How are you?
Good, just dandy, thank you.
Good. So this morning I have before you a request for a county letter of need. In Minnesota, in order for a substance use treatment center to open through the licensure process, they need a letter from a county board indicating that there is need in the county for that treatment center to open. So we have Mankato Chemical Health, which has been operating just since this summer, July of 2019. It is located in North Mankato, and Ms. Berg is requesting a letter from the county indicating that there is need in Nicollet County. Just a little bit of background on what is available for chemical dependency services in Nicollet County. We do have two outpatient providers for adults, neither of which is holistic in approach, so that does make this particular treatment center unique. And we do not have any providers who provide outpatient chemical dependency treatment for adolescents. So that would be a direction this provider would take. She would have outpatient groups for adolescents, and that would also be holistic. So she would have equine contracts and yoga and acupuncture and those types of things to add a rehabilitative piece to treatment. So this morning I am requesting a signature on a letter that she can share with the Department of Human Services.
I'd entertain a motion to authorize the signature. We have a motion from Morrow.
I'll second.
We have a second from Kolars. Any other discussion? Any questions for Cassie? Seeing, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank
Cassie.
you.
Appreciate your work on that. Well, and then I think we have an issue with regard to a conditional use permit. Good morning.
Morning, Mr. Chair.
How are you this morning?
Morning.
Not too bad. Hello, I just have the one request for your consideration today. The request of applicant Iris Solar LLC and property owner Cedric Thom Revocable Trust for a conditional use permit to establish a large solar energy facility. The system will occupy up to 10 acres of land and have the capacity of 1 megawatt. 1 megawatt is enough electricity to power approximately 250 houses for a year. The project site is located in Nicollet Township and is zoned agricultural. The location was selected due to its proximity to existing XL infrastructure. The township has approved the access point. No wetland issues were detected. The applicant is proposing a decommissioning bond of $25,000 with the county as beneficiary. After decommissioning, the land will be returned to agricultural production. The proposal appears to meet the applicable setbacks and standards of the zoning ordinance and renewable energy ordinance. No public comments were received. We did have some testimony at the hearing from Judy Bodie. She expressed some concerns over parking along the roadway, potential damage to private tile lines, and the mowing of vegetation at the site. After due consideration, the commission voted unanimously to recommend approval of the request. Mr. Chair, staff seeks a motion to approve the request and the attached findings of fact.
Thank you. I'd entertain a motion.
I'll move.
We have a motion from Lidke.
I'll second the motion.
We have a second from Drell. We have a question, Commissioner Mill.
Could you just touch on the concerns that were raised by
Yes.
and what the response was?
Yeah, so the parking, there is another community solar garden just to the west of the site across the township road. She said that when that was under construction, there were people parking along the township road, along the road in the right of way. There is a condition that applies to that on the conditional use permit. This was the first we'd heard that there were parking issues out there during construction. We hadn't received any complaints or anything. Regarding the tile lines, my understanding is that's a private matter. It's not a public tile line. At the meeting, the representative from Iris Solar did say that they had some contractual means of addressing that. And then about the mowing of vegetation, she also commented that the enter site needed some attention for maintenance. And that is something we'll follow up to. That was the first we heard of that concern. That is addressed as a condition on the permit as well.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chair, touch again on the tiling. So if they do wreck a tile or a tile just deteriorates, that takes other people's water, they are responsible to get that fixed even though there are.
I believe at that matter, it's between the two private landowners. So I'm not sure that we
So
could.
that's more of a legal question.
I believe so, yeah. The applicant is here, could be able to address that.
Okay.
Please
Up
step
to you,
forward.
Mr. Chair.
State your name for the record.
Hi.
Morning.
Good morning. Justin Rankin. I work with Geronimo Energy as the project developer for this site.
Okay.
Just to address that matter, we're actually legally obligated to fix any drain tile damage that we cause by the terms of our contract with the landowner, which includes drain tile to a neighboring landowner as well.
Right, Mr. Chair, but I guess my question is, what if it just deteriorates, say 5 years or 10 years from now? You guys still,
We are still obligated
Okay.
through the length of our contract
okay,
to fix that.
thank you.
Yep.
Because that does happen.
Correct.
Anything else as long as he's here? Thank you so much for your input.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Any other discussion items? We have a motion, we have a second. Let's call the question.
All right, Commissioner Lipke?
Yes.
Commissioner Grau?
Yes.
Commissioner Morrow?
Yes.
Commissioner Bullard?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Look who's here. Good morning, Seth.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board, and staff. Several items from Public Works today. The first is to consider MnDOT intersection lighting agreement. If you recall, at an earlier board meeting this summer, we had talked about the upcoming 2020 MnDOT rehab project that'll take place on Trunk Highway 111 and 22, and at that time we were discussing the possibility of intersection lighting at the intersections of County Roads 5, 15, and 1, and at that time the board had directed myself to work with MnDOT to generate agreements to light those intersections. So in your packet is the intersection lighting agreement. Also in your packet is a one-pager that kind of explains what the project all entails. And well, I guess that one pager will be on the next item with the detour agreement. We can talk about that a little bit more. So asking the board today to approve MnDOT intersection lighting agreement and the attached resolution.
I'd move it, Mr. Chair.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. Any additional discussion on the lighting issue?
Mr. Chair, just my understanding is we will be responsible for the electric bills and the maintenance of the.
Yes, yes. So if the luminary burns out, we're responsible
Okay.
for the expenses on replacing that. If there's an accident, the pole gets knocked down, we're responsible for that. Yep,
But the safety aspect of it has shown to be effective.
yes.
Okay, good enough for me.
Any other questions on that topic? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by, I'm sorry?
It's a resolution, we might want to do a roll call.
You would like a roll call on a resolution? Very well.
Commissioner Polars?
Yes.
Commissioner Licke?
Yes.
Commissioner Morrow?
Yes.
Commissioner Grunnow?
Yes.
Chair Kemp?
Yes. Next item.
The next item is to consider a MnDOT detour agreement. The same project on Trunk Highway 111 and 22 that we were just speaking about will require various detours depending on what stage of the project that they're in. One of the detours is set to use County Road 1 from Trunk Highway 15 to Trunk Highway 22. Included in your packet is that detour agreement, along with that one pager giving a little bit more explanation about what's all entailed with the 111-22 project, and then also a map showing the different proposed detour routes that this project will be utilizing. So I'm asking the board today to approve MnDOT detour agreement and the corresponding resolution.
Entertain a motion for the resolution.
So moved.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. Discussion, questions?
Now, this whole thing, Mr. Chair, is about time, isn't it, on 111? That has been a bumpy road for so long.
Yes.
And it's great to see the state putting their efforts and resources into it.
Anything else? Since it is a resolution, we're gonna call the roll.
Commissioner Morrow?
Yes.
Commissioner Licke?
Yes.
Commissioner Grunnow?
Yes.
Commissioner Polars?
Yes.
Chair Kemp?
Yes. Your next item.
Next item is to consider MnDOT, and this is called an Advanced Construction Agreement 1035041. This agreement is entered into between the county and MnDOT for the repairs that will be undertaken on the collapsed culvert on County Road 1. Since this project is utilizing federal dollars and the federal disaster dollars haven't quite yet been appropriated from the federal government to MnDOT, MnDOT acts as the agent to receive federal dollars, and then they flow down to us. When those dollars haven't been appropriated yet to MnDOT, MnDOT requires an advanced construction agreement be entered into with the local agency, and it basically says that MnDOT will do their part for a normal federal aid project, and the county will do their part once those monies are appropriated, and that then those funds will be passed along to the county. So I'm asking the board today to approve this MnDOT AC agreement and the corresponding resolution.
I'd entertain a motion.
So moved.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. Any other questions or discussion? Commissioner Morrow.
So this is the next step in moving this project forward.
Yes, this is the next step. Another step. Yes.
Anything else? Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Licke?
Yes.
Commissioner Grunnow?
Yes.
Commissioner Morrow?
Yes.
Commissioner Polars?
Yes.
Chair Kemp?
Yes. I believe that's your agenda item. Did you, as long as you're there and in the warm seat,
Yeah.
does anybody have any other questions for Seth at the moment?
Final approval from state and federal on number 1?
We were given the authorization, about a week and a half ago to move forward with finalizing the proposal and advertising for bids and quotes. So we've pretty much finalized the proposal. I have a final draft on my desk for one more review, and then we'll be posting that. We will be opening bids on September 9th with plan to award contract at the board meeting on September 10th. Contract the proposal documents require then that the contractor has 10 calendar days to then execute the contract and bonds, send those back to us. We'll look them over. If everything looks good, we'll give notice of approval to the contractor. Then he has 8 days to commence work, and anticipated start date would be September 30th, and we've given the contractor 5 working days to complete this project.
Thank you.
Anything else? I do have just a brief question on where were we with the geotech issues on 14, I'm sorry.
I have a draft report from the geotech firm. Well, it's not draft anymore, it's a final report. They lay out several different remediation options, and also they have recommendations in for an emergency temporary project that we will look at doing this fall before winter that will essentially protect the slope from further moisture damage and erosion to hold this hold that slide area until next year when we are planning on doing the full permanent restoration of County Road 14. And so right at the moment, Gale Tech Engineering and SRF are going to be developing a very small plan set for that temporary restoration project to protect the slope. So they're also generating, SRF is also then generating a hydrologic report that talks about rerouting storm sewer and sizing of the storm sewer. Once that report is finalized, more than likely I'll have to meet with MnDOT and Federal Highway to talk about the different remediation options and have some dialogue with them on what they will be willing to participate in on that restoration.
Well, we're optimistic we'll be able to retain the open road through the winter, and if everything goes well and the weather holds with us.
Yeah, we
collapses,
temporarily
right?
have plastic draped over that area to try to keep as much water from getting onto that slope. We haven't seen any further deterioration since the initial slope failure occurred, so optimistic that we should be able to keep that road open until next year when we do that major project.
Mr. Chair, it'll stay at the lower weight limit though, is that correct, or?
I believe if we don't see any further erosion out there and we get these temporary measures put in place this fall, that we will be able to probably raise that load carrying capacity back to 10 tons. Yes.
Thank you.
Anything on that topic? None. Just a brief overview of how the initial opening went of intersection of 15 and 21.
I haven't heard anything, so it must have went well.
That was my assumption too. We hadn't heard anything either, but I just wanted to make sure if you'd had anything in the.
It's a lot of curves, but there's one less stop sign. So.
Right. Well.
Yeah, it's nice that's open, because more than likely when we do that temporary work on County Road 14, there is the potential to having to close 14 temporarily to have equipment up there working to place
Can
rock.
at least get people back into the loan then.
Yes.
Oh, great.
Yes.
Anything else?
You know, Mr. Chair, as I was thinking about this, these historical, biblically bad rains and the flooding this year and the past recent years really have caused many roads to deteriorate, and people who want to use them need to remember that these are times that we haven't seen before. These are issues that haven't come up before. So I'd also like to remind folks who are critical of state and federal agencies that these agencies may have long memories when they are being criticized. So we should avoid that opportunity in the future.
Anything else, Jack?
No, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, went for a canoe ride on Kister Slough Saturday. Still probably about a foot of water in the center of the road.
Yep.
That's all we have. Thank you, Seth.
All right,
Appreciate
thank
your
you.
time and
Yep.
your efforts. I'd like to take this opportunity to recess our regular board meeting and convene the.
Mr. Chair, Are we waiting for a guest for the Drainage Authority?
Yes, I believe he contemplated being here at 9:30.
Oh, all right, well then, yeah, if it's acceptable to the rest of the group, what we'll do is we'll mush through the rest of the agenda, which we can probably finish since we don't have, oh, there was no public hearing, so we can just, that's
County
acceptable.
attorney have a report?
And then she will, because that will be the next item. Madam County Attorney, you have a report you'd like to share with us?
As the board is aware, the county participates in the Back to School Challenge to provide school supplies for students going back to school in St. Peter and rural Nicollet County. And we do a competition amongst the various departments to see who can raise the most money and bring in the most school supplies. And I'm pleased to report that this year the commissioners beat the other departments with respect to their collection of cash and school supplies. There is a traveling trophy that is in the back of the boardroom that is presented to the department that collects the most supplies. In accordance with past practices, the board has deferred receipt of that to the next department that collected the most school supplies, which is the Guardian Ad Litem office. So they will be presented with that trophy this afternoon. We wanted them to be here today, but they are all in court in Blue Earth County, and so they are not here. So we will present that to them this afternoon. With the assistance, it's a collaborative effort, community effort with service organizations and human services and the departments here in Nicollet County. We served 550 students this year, which is an increase of 25 students at least of what we've served in the past. So thank you for your support of the project, and we will present the traveling trophy to the Guardian Ad Litem office this afternoon. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Michelle, and thank you for all your work in carrying that trophy all these years. It's appreciated, very much so. And you had nothing else, Mr. Administrator?
No, that's it.
Okay. Chair's report, we'll mush through all of this. Budget committee is where we've been. Department head meeting, our last board meeting, Brown Nicollet Community Health. We had the executive committee that I met with. We continue to proceed with some repairs at the Elixir building as part of that project, and that will be further revealed to you at your next full board meeting. Commissioner Kolars.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Traverse Sioux Board has been making a practice of visiting all libraries in the 9-county area. And last meeting, we were at Montgomery, where we had kolachkis served to us. If you're aware what kolachkis are, those are prune-filled Danish rolls. I had the apricots. Minnesota Valley Action Council meeting, workshop on the 20th, and county board meeting today. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Drell.
Been on the road again to Gaylord for joint ditches, Brown Nicollet Community Health Board. I attended the City of St. Peter's electric car charging station presentation. Planning and zoning, department head, more Brown Nicollet. Pretty dull.
Commissioner Morrow.
I'm going to pass for 1 second here.
Commissioner Lipke.
Went to the Gaylord Ditch meeting with Marie, went to a budget meeting, went to the Fair Appreciation Supper at the fairgrounds, Soil and Water Conservation District meeting in Nicollet, had a tour of Ditch 79 with affected landowners on that ditch, got a few calls on number 1 and other road closings and comments. I went to visit Belgrade Township to look at a bridge/culvert that is starting to fail. Went to another budget meeting and went to the workshop.
Commissioner Morrow.
I'll give you my best shot here.
Please.
Joined Marie at the electric car meeting, and I know we both wanted to thank the county fair folks who had their appreciation dinner at the same time. Ditch meeting that we mentioned, met with folks about broadband access and the workshop.
Very well. Entertain a motion for per diems and expenses.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Commissioner meetings and conferences, has everybody got their registration in for the policy conference? I think that's our most current, anything going in. We haven't got any registration. Just as a reminder, I think some of you are on the schedule for the RETA meeting also.
Right.
Right, so, and I think you already took care of the registrations in regard to that. So we look forward to that. I think some of us have different start times based on what function we have
That's the
with
night of
that.
the 10th, right?
Right.
Yes. Anything else for the good of the cause at the moment with regard to our regular meeting? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn the commission meeting, and then we will convene the, or can't I? I will look to my experts in,
'Cause you're
since we
doing-
finished the regular business here, we can adjourn this and just convene the,
Because the remaining topics on the agenda relate to the Drainage Authority's
right.
matters.
Is that,
So moved.
we have a motion?
Second.
We have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The board meeting is now adjourned, and we will now turn our attention to the agenda portion, which deals with the Drainage Authority, which I will now call to order. We have Drainage Authority consent item.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. That is for the approval of the Drainage Authority meeting minutes. Sorry, I missed that. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Now, this portion of the meeting is closed for attorney-client privilege pursuant to Minnesota statute Chapter 13D to discuss potential litigation regarding the improvement project on Nicollet County Ditch 62A. Pause while we go into closed session. Okay, we reconvene the public portion of our Drainage Authority meeting, and I would ask our county attorney to report out our discussion with regard to 62A.
Mr. Chair, as I understood the conversation from the board the Drainage Authority is directing and requiring that ISG reiterate to contractors and all subs that they must tell ISG when they are on site working at all times. As it relates to an open ditch issues, there was a punch list that was provided on August 23rd by Hutton, showing work that would be completed primarily by Rickard and Evergreen by September 10th. Board is requiring demonstration of compliance with that schedule as provided for the completion of that work listed on that punch list. As to the tile items and the tile lines, the requirement is a meeting between Hutton and ISG by Friday, August 30th. From that meeting, there will be the creation of a revised punch list reflecting the agreed upon work for all aspects of the tile work that was completed on this project, to include both that work that was done by Ellingson and work that might have been done by others. That there will be test holes dug that examine the gaps that have been identified in tiles. Those will be dug and examined by September 10th. That there will be a specific schedule of work provided that will have specific completion dates and the specific work to be completed, along with the equipment that will be utilized to complete that work, and that the board continues to reserve its right to terminate this contract. I believe, Mr. Chair, that is a summary.
Barring any other additional business, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Have a motion?
Second.
Have a second. Discussion, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, hearing none. Our Drainage Authority meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.